It's Wednesday, October 11th, and today is a step 18 day, which means that it's an action day in Libra. Today's the day to pop the question, change your routines. Today's the day you may feel uncomfortable and you may be charged. Today's the day to wait 3 to 10 seconds before you respond to anything. Today's one of those days. Today is a defining day in the rest of your life. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. And we are, for those of you guys who've been following us for a while, we are back at Sia Mayakan. Mayakan Reserve, if you guys want to check it out, it's Sia Mayakan, M-A-Y-A Kan, K-A-A-N. And we are just outside of Tulum here. This is where we spent a month last year. This is where we came to you constantly. And this was one of the best months of our lives, and we're back here. Put in where you're from. Hi, from Alberta. I'm doing great. Changing your routine today. That's awesome. Hey, Dr. April. Cincinnati, Ohio. Grand Rising. I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying good morning. Belgium. Hello from Port Townsend, Washington. Grand Risings. Absolutely, Mark. Good to see you out there holding up Vancouver, Ontario, Canada. Much love from Danielle in Toronto. Good to see you. I am feeling, okay, courageously, Courtney, I am feeling good today. Good morning. I'm back here. I mean, how could I not feel good? Good morning from Edmonton, Alberta, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm seeing change but lost, UK. Kansas, welcome. New Zealand. Our newest member, Mary's from New Zealand. She's a Kiwi from down under. She's been down there for 15 years. From Western Australia. Checking in. Melville, New York. Melbourne, Australia. Wow, we're getting the Australians in here. Hello from Michigan. Look forward to your lives, Tara. Is it Worcester? Worcester? You pronounce it Worcester, UK. Yeah, we have a special guest. You guys, this is Raw Reality Wednesdays. So we have Raw of Earth coming up here in a few minutes. We're just going to let some people get in the room. Slovenia. Norway. Wow, this is United Nations again today. Yes, so in Mayakan here, Ra, who's going to be coming up here, we spent time here in May and June, early June. And it was beautiful. We spent a whole month here living on the beach. We're literally on the beach. The water's just over there. I'll probably show you guys around later. I mean, it's unbelievable. Uzbekistan. Hawaii. Got Philly, Pennsylvania. You have two lives. What do I mean I have two lives? Are there two lives going on at the same time? Hi from Seoul, South Korea, where it's midnight. Whoa, welcome, coming in from Seoul. Former Winnipegger. Got tired of fresh air, moved to Toronto. Yeah, for those of you guys who are not Canadians, that's a funny one. Sweden, Germany. Amazing group here. Yes, power of the masses. Hi from Alaska. We've got Bree, Coach Bree, that's up in Whitehorse, and that's right next to Alaska. She just moved up there, and I'm like, woo, you did that willingly? I grew up in northern Alberta, the most northern city in Canada, called Fort McMurray. Yes, one on the other page, too. Huh. That's super weird. How is that possible? One from here. Hey, Jay, I got a one from Garry. Do you got to log into my Garry Lineham account? It says I got two lives going on.
I don't know.
Huh. Can you check it out?
Could it be in this phone? The other one?
Is it on that one? I don't even think I turned it on yet.
It is on. What's the password for this one?
3333.
No, you're not live on here.
Okay, I was live on Garry. I'm not there anymore. Okay, good. Personal page just popped up first thing. Whoa, that's super weird. Not exactly sure why, guys. Not exactly sure why. Hey, Michelle, good talk yesterday. Okay, let's bring up Raw of Earth. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Raw, you want to come on in here? Raw. You guys will remember Raw from the anal sphincter release, or the butthole torquing, or the butthole suntanning, where he was famous all over the world for. Yeah, it's such a good video too. Oh, I did not eat chicken wing, but I did need an apple. Okay, there you go. That's really good. Thanks, Michelle, for updating us on that. Yeah, the chicken wing's a little tough to go right to. Yeah, I started my other live there just for a second, guys, and I did it for a reason. I was trying to get myself, hey, Raw, can you actually get on here? Raw might be on, there is an option. Okay, hold on a second here. Go live. I think we got you. I got you, Raw. I think you're coming in here. Check it out. Whoa, there we go.
I'm here.
So, Raw, I was just teasing you a little bit because I know you had such a good time here. Maya Khan.
Yeah. Tulum.
Hello.
My skin's usually dry, but there it's not.
So people are getting to know you. I mean, lots of people know you on your platform, stuff like that. But people on my platform, once you give them your, why don't you give them your where you are, what you do, and your birthday?
My birthday is October 13th, 1982.
Coming up.
4:26 a.m. if you want to go even deeper than that. And I am in Los Angeles, and basically I help people with consciousness and their human experience.
Now,
in
you
all
used
sorts
to be,
of ways.
yeah, used to be a multi-gym owner in Los Angeles, and you were like winning CrossFit competitions all over the world for a long time.
Yeah, I've been a lifelong athlete, and I take that sort of mindset into all sorts of avenues of the human experience. With CrossFit, the whole purpose was to be fit in a variety of domains, and eventually that goes outside of the gym. So basically being fit by lifting barbells is one form of fitness, but then there's being able to fit into different environments, being able to fit into uncomfortable situations in life, and being able to evolve and grow that way. So that's what's interesting to me now.
Now, a lot of our audience does know you actually because we've done some great videos together and stuff like that. And a lot of people cross follow. A lot of our audience has been following you for a long time, a lot longer than we've been on social media.
Well, I mean, we're kind of doing the same stuff, right? I mean, your following's huge and loyal, and they're great, and they participate. And so that's what I love about your following. It's good to watch.
So how did you, first of all, because everybody wants to know, how did you get your name Raw?
Oh, that's a good question to start with. So it's not as glorious or glamorous as that you think, but Ra is basically short for my birth name, which is Ronald. So my birth name is Ronald, and then I was going by Ronnie for most of my life. And when I closed my gyms, I felt like I was ready to shed that identity. So I went back to Ronald, and it didn't feel right. And so I went and I got a spiritual name, and they assigned me Ravi Chander. And so Ravi means essence of the sun, Chander means moon. And so that was my spiritual name, and I was introducing myself as Ravi for a little bit, and that didn't feel right. And so I was like, well, what do all these names have in common? And Ra was the start of all of the names. And so I just went with Ra, and that felt more right than any of the other names. So that's what I identify as right now.
So I got introduced to you in end of 2018, and when all my staff, my media staff, they like, yeah, Raw of Earth is coming in, and I'm thinking RAW. I had no concept, right? And yeah, I said, what's he famous for? Well, butthole suntanning.
Well, you know, when I was winning CrossFit competitions, I was doing it without really training, and I was hanging out at the beach, and it was surprising me because I own gyms. I thought the pathway to fitness was training and your body adapting to stress. And what I found is that if I'm just going outside, I was able to perform and produce power on a physical dimension in ways that I didn't know was possible. And so I really had to discover what it is that's giving me power. And I realized that I'm out in the sun in very, very little clothing, and that started me into naked suntanning. So I was doing that for 5 years before I even produced that video. It was like a regular thing that I always would go outside in my yard. It was all fenced in, naked, on the ground. I would read there every single day. I would work there. And then that video just, we took 2 takes on that video and it went viral. It's all over the world. Everybody got a hold of that video.
Yeah, that was a viral sensation. And that's how I got introduced to you. And at that time, I'm in the clinical path. I'm still very clinically minded, trying to open up myself spiritually, coming from this fixing bodies very mechanically and clinically. And I was trying to figure out at that time, why are so many people following you? Like, what was it? What was it that was like, how come you had such a loyal following? And you have a loyal following. You get online, you talk to people, and you share your experiences authentically, which is, I believe, the reason why. And, even when we were starting our social media journey, you helped us. Significantly helped us. You helped us look at things that we didn't think about. One of the things you first said to us is, don't worry about the views. Look at the shares.
Right.
How many people share your videos? That's the real way to know that you're successful. And we had no clue. But when we started producing videos that had better share count, then everything started to grow. And that was you that planted that seed in our mind.
Well, that's good. You guys are sharing everything that you know, right? So it's kind of just duplicating that process, what you were already doing. And yeah, if anybody out there, and I love everything about Human Garage. I do your guys's fascia maneuvers. I still can't pronounce that word, Gary. Fascia, fascial.
It's actually not a word. That's why it doesn't exist. We actually own the trademark on the word fascial.
Fascial maneuver.
Yeah, because fascia is a word. You could say fascia maneuvers, but fascial is not a word. We created that word. It just sounded better. Yeah, and you can't own fascia. So we were like, what could we trademark? Well, we could trademark fascial.
That's amazing. So you have the trademark on that, fascial maneuvers. So when we say fascial maneuvers, we're only speaking of one thing, and that's the techniques from Human Garage.
Yeah, and that way we're not taking away from everybody who's doing good work in fascia, because it's just basically it's something that we're doing, and maneuvers it belonged in something different than a movement, because a maneuver is specific and tactical. It has intention. That's what a maneuver does. It's like a maneuver is like an army or like a Navy. They're doing maneuvers, right? It's specific and tactical with intention, with an outcome. Whereas movement doesn't really define that. Movement can be just this, right?
Literally,
so we're
intention too.
What?
Specific tension. It's intention.
Yeah. Yes. And you think of the word intention.
Right.
Intention.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know you're big on spellcasting and how words set up and stuff like that. That's part of your platform. So a little bit about your platform. Like, what is the intent of your platform? Because, you produce a shit ton of content. You're out there every day.
Yeah, so for me, it's all things having to do with the human experience. So on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I'm like, I used to do the physical stuff. I'm also in health and wellness. I help people with their gut health and their physical health and mindset. I own a business where I help people make money. And so all of this goes into the human experience. It's all multidimensional, and the fuller awareness that we get to all of the different aspects of ourself, the more clarity that we have on what we're doing in this life. And the more clarity that we have, the more power that we have. And then we're here to create. Right? So during this lifetime, we are creating, and we're existing in a material world that's already been materialized. So a lot of people are going through this world, and we're taught to try to transform what is already materialized, like to work and to force our way through this physical environment. But all of this existed non-physically before it existed physically. So really trying to force change within this physical environment it's not as efficient as going to the source, going to the non-physical aspects of ourself through processes just like mindfulness or presence or even meditation or specific intentional practices where we go to the non-physical to intend and manifest into this material world. And it's much easier to manifest from the non-physical than it is to change what is already manifested.
So you started a new podcast, and it has a really interesting and unique intent around it. Like, tell us a little bit about that, because I'm super curious. I've heard a little bit about it. I haven't got the full story.
Yeah, I need to scale up. We're just in our pilot season right now. We released 2 episodes, and I'm saying we because I had a producer, but now it's just me. I'm a solo person now. But we released 2 episodes so far. But the premise of the podcast is it's called Subject Matter Experts. And I take a subject having to do with the human experience, and I find 5 subject matter experts, and then I find the 5 most relevant and popular questions for that particular subject, and I ask all the 5 experts the same 5 questions, and then after I post all their interviews, then I post the individual questions with the 5 subject matter experts' answers. So the first series, the first subject is testosterone. So I have 5 subject matter experts on testosterone. And then the 5 questions that most people are searching for on testosterone are like, what is testosterone? What happens if you have low testosterone? Is there a way to increase your testosterone? So questions like that, I ask them all those questions so that now people can get a really short piece of content of 5 people answering that question. What is testosterone? Because that's what most people are searching the internet for. They want to know the answers to these questions. And we're going to do all sorts of subjects like hair, sunlight, earthing, money, every subject I can think of basically. But it's just right now I'm in the producing phase and getting all the steps handled so that I can scale.
You would love my answer on how to increase testosterone.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's the simplest one. Take out what's taking your testosterone away. It's all your hormones are supposed to be in balance. So what dysregulates hormones is stress. Remove the stress and the hormones will regulate themselves to a proper balance. And measuring testosterone count is not a good indicator of your health. That's like measuring your RPMs versus your speed. Because you could be going 9,000 RPMs, but you might only be doing like 50 miles an hour. And you can keep that up with a high testosterone count, but eventually it's going to crash if you are using things to increase your testosterone without taking away the reason why it's dysregulated. We don't have testosterone issues. We have balance issues in our body.
Yeah, so that's all interesting, right? That's a different perspective, you know, instead of adding...
Technically it's the only perspective because the rest of it is doing something that's not natural for the body. It's the body will regulate itself in any circumstance depending upon all the inputs it gets. So if we have a hormone issue, if you go back 80, 90 years ago, we never had testosterone issues. You guys were 90 years old, 100 years old, they didn't have testosterone issues. We have issues now because we measure it, but our measurements are based on norms, not on what's healthy. And then we're also we're measuring an individual unit without measuring all the contributors to it. Because if I'm restricted in my body, I have to use more adrenaline, norepinephrine, and more cortisol if I'm dehydrated. Eventually, what that does is it immediately suppresses testosterone, estrogen, estradiol, serotonin, dopamine, all the good ones get suppressed right away. So we have to remove what it is, but the entire world is stressed out right now. So all of our science is based on stressed out people.
Can we speak a little bit, speaking of testosterone, and I started thinking about the fascial maneuvers and how that's, have you talked about how that is actually great for male sex drive and performance?
Yeah, because, are you experiencing it now?
Yeah, of course. I've been doing them every day for
Why would something that because it's taking your stress out 1 to 2 times per day where most people don't. We're not meant to live in this stressed out adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol driven world. That's not how we were meant. We didn't function like this until recently. It's like even 30 years ago, we didn't function like this. So yes, fascial maneuvers has balanced my hormones, and my counts are way lower than you would think is healthy. but I have perfect drive. And then the other part about it is for the male specifically, when you have less restriction causes a pulling in like this. So when you have less restriction, you actually get length. I don't know if you've experienced that one yet, but
I would say everything's pretty healthy. It's feeling top game right now. It
yeah,
also feels like the especially totally twisted gets like deep into there, where if there was any restrictions in blood flow or tissues that were out of balance, it's really tuning that up.
yeah, and it's doing another thing too, because our ability to perform also has an injunct relationship to the female or to the alternate. It could be a male, whatever, because if they're really excited and producing good energy and stuff like that, I have more energy for it. But everybody's been with a partner at one point in their life which was really negative or whatever, and just didn't resonate, and then the performance drops. So it's a bilateral relationship, and when we're open up emotionally, we're more present, we're more centered, and when we're more present, more centered, my energy and your energy come together and produce a better energy. When we're on different frequencies, we come together, we produce a worse energy.
Mm-hmm. I find that the chakras, the root is at the bottom, and through sexual exchange, that energy, it's basically arcing back and forth to the partner. And as you said, the more match, the more harmony, the more excited, that arc of energy comes higher. It goes heart to heart as you start to bond, and then eventually you can arc that all the way up into your higher centers, and that's where things like sex magic get really profound. And there's a book that explains like how Jesus and Mary like basically they were using that, bringing that energy up into their pineal gland through the act of sex, and that's how that was all the
it's a
magic.
connection,
Right.
So okay, it took me a long time to figure out. I'll jump topics and then jump back. Why urine therapy works so well. Urine therapy is one of the most powerful therapies. Like a friend of mine, Dr. Joe, he's a vascular surgeon, has multiple clinics, one of the biggest and best vascular surgeons on the planet. His wife had a bowel obstruction. She was on 28 days. And they're saying you have to take it out. And she's like, I don't want to. And he's like, I want to support you, but you're going to die. So they flew her over to India. They went into an Ayurvedic, really a high-end Ayurvedic practitioner. He looks at her, pokes a few things and says, drink your urine. You'll be done by tomorrow. She drank her urine. The next day it was done. So I started doing that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't do that right away. To be honest with you, I had a lot of daring subjects. One of them, Mark Lou, who's on here, he was addicted to opiates after being stabbed and shot. And so he was addicted to opiates. And I said, well, how'd you get off opiates? And he goes, urine therapy. And I'm like, okay, urine therapy again. And I said, well, how long did it take? And he said, 1 day. And I'm like, how is that possible? How did the body's addiction? Because addiction's a funny thing. Addiction is the nervous system just trying to get what it wants. And if you give it a way to get it faster, it just jumps right to there. It goes right past everything and goes right to the best source. It doesn't want anything but the best source. The body's optimizing experience. So I was trying to figure out why it worked. And now I have an anecdotal science way of why it works in my own experience. Because the other thing too is I would use quite a bit of plant medicine to regulate my energy, because I'm always pushing my energy out working with people, right? And so I'd use plant medicine to regulate my energy. And I'm like, well, if it got them off of heroin, what would it do for me? And I hadn't been able to get my head around it. So I thought, well, technically I don't need the full glass of urine. It's like a homeopathic. If my body's clean enough, I can just take a little bit. So I put about 3 or 4 tablespoons of urine. Well, I started off in my bath. So I had a filtered water bath, and a diatomaceous earth, Irish sea moss, borax. And I thought, okay, so I'm going to put a little urine in here. So I put a little urine in there, and I would drink it every morning. And then all of my desire for sugar, plant medicine, And all that just went away like overnight. But what it did, amazingly enough, was clean my thought process out. And I'm still, my scientific mind is still trying to say, why is this? Because I'll accept it works. But then once it works, and if I don't know why it works, I'm going to spend the rest of my life figuring it out. So basically, what we noticed from Dr. Garry Reams' work, which Dr. Garry Reams was curing people, and he was a doctor and an organic chemist at the same time. He was remediating soil and rebalancing soil so life would grow. And he said, wait a second here. This is the same as a human being. Human being has soil too. It's their tissue, it's their organs and stuff like that. So he started measuring pH between here and urine. And if they're together, even if it's unhealthy, you feel good. So even if you're like 5.8, which is super unhealthy, if they're both 5.8, you don't feel bad. You actually feel good. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Why would my body not feel bad if I'm actually in a really negative state? So then, but if it's more alkaline here and more acidic here, if it's dysregulated, then I become susceptible to diseases like digestive issues, lethargic issues, all kinds of autoimmune issues and stuff like that, teeth, cavities, stuff like that. But if I flip it around and I'm more acidic in my urine and less more acidic, in my mouth and less acidic in my urine, then I get all the inflammatory diseases like cancers and stuff like that. And so he figured this out. He produced the science. The government put him in jail in the 70s and he died in jail. But yeah, I know. It's another one of those stories, right? But the human garage lab test was based on that theory. We didn't tell anybody because there's a lot of religious connotation around it. But our lab test was based on his work. And so the idea is that if my mouth and my body was connected, if it was exactly the same pH, then I would feel good. So that made sense to me, because if I'm urinating and I put that in my mouth, well, that's going to change the pH or the information in my mouth. So that's why I believe it works. I believe that it's an exact balance to your in and out system, because everything goes in here eventually comes out here.
Yeah, it's like it's looping. It's closing the cycle and creating the harmony.
Right now, back to sex. It's when you're fluid and you're together and you're working, it's actually looping.
Yeah, exactly.
And closing
you're
the
also
loop.
Kissing too, right?
What?
So you are connecting with your lips.
Yes.
And down there. So there's an electrical or bioplasmic, or however you want to say it, loop that's happening through the act of sex.
Yeah. So basically, urine therapy and good sex are basically the same thing. But good sex takes it from the biological into the energetic, because you're highly charging emotions, which charges your entropic field. We know that. We can look at it. Mm-hmm. Urine is for the biology. Sex is actually for the frequency.
Well, and then you can even get into like what menstrual blood is and the stories of spells that like.
Yeah, that's real. That's real shit, man. That is real shit. I have tried it. I can tell you, it is real stuff. The black magic that they do with that. I have tried it, and I literally, it took me a process to change my thought process and get it back to me. It was weird.
So you're talking about like when you consume a woman's menstrual blood, you're like bonded.
Yeah, there's a bonding that happens for sure. But these are also natural practices that used to happen in society. We're just not taught about it anymore. We're in our Western medicine culture, which is only 100 years old. I mean, you go past there were thousands of years before this little blip in time where we've now forgotten everything. All the stuff that we used and if you even go back 100 years ago, people were way healthier than they are today. If you go back in the 60s, they were healthier.
And smart.
No one was overweight. Nobody had ADD, ADHD. Nobody had neurological disorders. Nobody did. We were way healthier back then than we are today.
It's funny. I had the same experience with urine therapy. I just kept on hearing about it my whole life. Like world champion fighters doing it, doctors in the East recommending it as a cure for certain diseases. And finally, before I even researched it, I wasn't like you. Before I even researched it, I just started doing it and was like, oh wow, this eventually start to crave it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Craving is totally right. And by the way, I didn't necessarily research it. I talked people into doing it. And then
yeah, you created your own lab
yeah,
experience.
I'm like, I'm gonna watch this first because it's one of the few things that I didn't do first. I watched. I had enough input from people, and I said, "There's got to be truth to this, right?"
Yeah. And I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not really certain exactly if this is a practice that people should be doing every single day for their whole life. I'm not sure.
I don't think they need to every single day, but I think it is in times, and I think like anything else, the body needs contrast, right? We can't do the same thing every day because the body responds to stimulus, which is contrast. If we have the same thing every day, there's no more stimulus. That's why when we eat the same diet every day, we think that's really good, but actually that's taking the body out of a natural rhythm. We're no longer getting the benefit from it.
Right. You get benefit from metabolic flexibility or variation and even medicinal variations and even mental stimulus, like having different experiences within your life. That's actually the whole concept of time. If we think back about how long or fulfilled our life is, it comes down to the amount of stimulating experiences, because all the boring, monotonous stuff that we do every single day, we forget about. And so if we've got a fulfilling life where everything is very stimulating and different, novel is the word. If it's novel, if it's new, then we tend to remember all of those things. And the more of those that we have into our life, the longer our life seems when we remember back about our life.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why in New York, they're always saying, forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah, but yeah, and you even look at the word remember. Member is to reassemble members.
Yeah,
Like, because members, they call it an arm like a member. So remembering is assembling the information from there with the organ, which is the emotion that charges it and places it in the memory and gets it from the hard drive and presents it to the brain for the brain to then process or grab a perception around it. That's what we're doing, is we're taking information from our fascia, we're remembering it, we're putting it back together, and then we have an incident, like I got hurt here, I was angry about it, so hurt, angry, brain presents it and goes, okay, what's the narrative? And then I get a perception about it, that was good or bad, and I make a judgment.
That's how it flows through. Your organs organize the energy as it comes from the base of your pelvis, from your root up through your spine into your brain, and your brain makes a concept of it. Yeah, the organs organize.
Here's one that got me early on in my study of the human body, is that the organs are highly densely populated with olfactory nerve cells.
They are.
Yeah, and so basically they have
intranet. It's like smelling, right? Like
smelling, hearing, tasting. That's why things like smell bring you right back, transport you into a time. Smell changes time. It's like if you remember grandma cooking for you the cookies and you walk
time machine.
Yeah. So that's why olfactory nerves are the primary communication with the organs. But every layer of fascia, we see 10 layers of fascia between the skin and the bone. And those are rings. This is the way they're organized. You can't see it, but you can test the function. I mean, you've touched my body. You can feel the layers. So at some point, we were able to do this, and now generally we can't. But the idea is each one of those layers is responsible for an emotional set. Like, for example, you take the bladder, it's fear. So when you lock a fascia against the bone, you can't move it. It stops up. So when we're in fear, we go, can't move. So that's the layer of fascia right around the bone that's contracting against the bone, and it does not allow us to move. It overtakes us.
You know, I was thinking about an exercise or a meditation. I was designing it yesterday, and I was thinking about if people could imagine what their posture is. Like if they're always under a state of anxiety, what would their posture, just like not what they're actually
Anxiety?
physically doing. Yeah.
Anxiety and fear. That's anxiety and fear.
When you, when I'm, even if they're able to hold their shoulders back and their chin up and they're faking it, there's still like a there's like an
Well, if
energetic.
they're being pulled forward like this and they push up like this, they're going to have lower back and sacrum issues. So,
There you go.
and then the sacrum, the bladder meridian crosses the sacrum, so it's actually pulling it, because when it activates, it pulls it, and that pulls your hips anterior posterior. That's why when you do the bladder release, that's why your hips start to move better.
All right, you just made a connection of what the, like another purpose of the organ reset and what that's all doing.
The organ reset is the most misunderstood of all of the fascial maneuvers, because basically we have this entropic field around us, and inside of our body is bones and then fascia, and the fascia is a crystalline structure. So it's like transmitting signals. The bones are what carry the signals the most. So when I go like this, what I'm doing is I'm bringing a signal into the body, bringing a signal into the body in two different zones. So I'm connecting areas of chakra points technically. That's why when an acupuncturist or Chinese medicine doctor tests somebody and then they go do an organ reset and they test them again, 75 to 90% of what they would have applied needles for is done in 7 minutes.
Garry, why when I go see, it's all like Eastern medicine, like acupuncturists, chiropractors from the East. If I'm laying down on a table, they check my pulse. I kind of know, but like, what's your explanation?
They're not really checking your pulse. They're checking the flow of your fascia in layers. Like a Chinese medicine doctor, a really good one, not the ones trained today. The ones trained today are to look for a position and orientation, put it in. But a really good one closes their eyes, they feel the needle, and it's different depths. So what they're doing is they're checking the pulse. You remember when you grab my arm out here and I breathed and you could feel my arm respirating? Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is they're checking to see what layer of fascia is blocked. Is it the top layer, which is the lungs, or is it the bottom layer, which is the bladder? And after a while, when you know that you're looking for that, you can test the sensitivity. So it's not really blood flow, because blood itself actually flows through the layer of fascia. We think it's going down these veins only, but the primary blood flow actually goes interconnected to the fascia. That's why that fascia magnified 25 times has little blood vessels that go off, and they look like they're rogue blood vessels. They're like they're splinters off a tree. So that's what they're doing. Is they're testing to see which layer of fascia is off, so they know which organ to address.
Because you can tell that no matter, like, in any point in the body, it's giving that signature of that organ that's off balance.
Yeah, you're right. And there are areas that are better, and if you have more sensitivity, it's like the difference. If you grab the arm, it's like working on a big truck. If you could do that on the temple, it's like working on a Ferrari. So you have, it's like the better, and then the best Chinese medicine doctors just look at you. Yeah. They watch your eyes, they watch how you act, and then they just talk. And that's how, what I do online, people, they go, it looks like magic, because it does look like magic. I look at them, I look at their eyes, I'm like, oh, you had a concussion over there, right? How'd you know that? Well, because the body always tells the truth 100% of the time. The body doesn't lie, the brain lies.
Hey, I've had many concussions.
Yeah.
Many, playing hockey and motorcycle accidents, and bicycle accidents, mostly in hockey, just like banging my head. So when we do these maneuvers, I noticed we're doing a lot of this stuff in the neck. Does it go into the brain? And
yeah, so imagine that you're just 10 layers. If you inside of our lifestyle artist program, we have a video. I'll find it, I'll send it to you. It's a dissection of a heart, and what he does is he says the heart is not a pump. You seen that one? He rolls it up, but when he unravels it, you can see layers of fascia, layers of muscle. So basically every organ is a vortex of all the layers of fascia coming together and is moving the energy for that particular layer to a specific point. So Our organs are not separate from us. They're a part of us. They're all grown together. We're grown in gel. That gel is called plasma, which is fascia. We're grown in fascia. So we're not separate. Just because we can look at an organ and cut it out doesn't mean that organ's separate. I mean, we can cut it out, but you know, this is one of the things I say to people. One of the interesting things is the only thing you can't cut out of the human body, you can cut everything out except for fascia.
Because it's everywhere.
Yeah, because your fascia is the gel, and then all the organs and everything in that are a composite of that gel in layers. But when you see that heart dissected, you see all 10 layers. When he opens it up, you can see the layers. And I'm like, that guy, he's like one of the best cardiologists, and he does the dissection. He explains it. He explains that the heart doesn't pump blood. It's a vortex. It doesn't even pump blood because the blood's in a circulatory system, like a siphon. Every 45 seconds, your blood churns in your body. Your heart doesn't pump it. It holds it like a centrifuge, spins it, and then lets it go. Poof, poof, poof. And the better pump for the heart is actually the calves. That's why when we walk, not run, but when we walk, we feel so good. We feel so heart-centered.
A lot of psychological work, or if people are going through some sort of trauma therapy, if they do that while walking, it's like 10 times more effective, because that's our natural rhythm, that's our natural state. And it's also, we're balancing the body, we're able to use the fullness of our brain. We're not stuck in the trauma zone.
Contralateral motion is the most difficult thing for humans to do, because you occupy both sides of the brain at the same time. And what it's doing is it's basically defragging your hard drive. Walking is a very, very complex activity. Like if you run, like on a bike, if you're riding fast, you don't feel the wobble. You slow down, it's like wobbly. That's what walking is. Walking forces you to balance, because even on a wobbly bike, if you speed it up, you don't notice the wobbling. So what happens is when we walk, the body by default has to balance itself out. So it looks for anything that's not right in that balance, and then it pulls itself away.
There's and I don't know if it's true, but in the book, The Secret Teaching of Plants, he explains that if the heart were a pump, that in order to go through the tens of thousands of arteries in the body, it would need to be strong enough to pump blood through a hose and then shoot a 100-pound dumbbell up in the air 6 kilometers. That's how strong it would need to be if it was just a pump.
The heart is not a pump. And you know, and medical science is there. Medicine is dogmatic, and religion, it's not even close to being there, because if the heart's not a pump, then I have to change everything that I've told you about it for 2,000 years. So but the way that the internet's working, the way that communication's working, we get people who can give alternate theories. And before, you had to push that theory through a bunch of peers. And if they didn't want to hear it, they wouldn't talk about it. But now you can go right to their audience, which is the end consumer, and you can bypass the blocking points, which are the peers who review you. Peer review is to slow down science. It's not to make science work. It's actually the degradation of science. And who in their mind wants to talk about a theory when they're just going to get shot up? The emotions of that are just overwhelming. So I'm not going to tell you what I know.
What you've been through. What? You've been through that. You go through it on a daily, I'm sure.
Yeah. But you know what? We're finally at the point now. I mean, it's been that way my whole medical career. But we're at a point right now where we have the results in the tens of thousands. Now, science has to prove why fascial maneuvers works now, because it already works. It's demonstrated. We have kids coming off the ADHD spectrum, off of autism. We've got people that are relieving themselves of cancers and autoimmune diseases that are told incurable. And so now we're at the point now we're big enough. We get 400 to 1,000 direct testimonials a day, with 10,000 to 15,000 auxiliary ones where people say in the comments. So now we're at the stage where one more year, and we're at tens of thousands of testimonials a day. Science now has to explain why it works. We no longer are obligated to explain if it works or not. And we don't have to, because what we did is we took our work, we put it out there and said, use it. If it works for you, let us know. And because we do that and we don't ask for money, people are willing to take their time, energy, and effort to share their experience. And that's all we ask. That's our payment.
And then they share it with others.
Yeah.
There's another. I keep on mentioning books. The first book was the Magdalene Manuscript, which if you're wondering. But when the first time I read Anatomy Trains, which you might be familiar with,
Yeah.
they were explaining that the reason why we think about bodies in parts is because the first people that they asked to cut up and dissect bodies were the butchers, because they already had the experience doing that with animals. And so that's why we're cutting it in pieces, because that's what butchers knew how to do. They knew how to just say, like, this is a bicep muscle, but it's like nothing really starts and ends like that. And that's the way that we're all taught.
Yeah.
Even with organs and the whole organ system.
Yeah. Well, Jesus came into the temple, threw the tables up, says, do not conduct commerce in my temple. He was saying, don't make money, don't drive value from helping somebody inside of here. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, and he was very, very angry, and I think he was calling them all actors or hypocrites or...
Yeah, he was. Here's one, is that where he lived, there was no wood for a long period of time, but everybody knows he was a carpenter. So what was he a carpenter of? There wasn't any wood. It was all clay.
Right.
And he put hands on people and they walked. And if you've ever seen chiropractic for the first time, that looks like a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
That is a miracle. I joke with people all the time, say Jesus was the first chiropractor.
I mean, he learned all of this stuff in the East, right? He went to India and Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And he taught there too. Like I have friends in Vancouver. We have a big Sikh community, and I have a lot of Sikh, really high level Sikhs, and everything from recording artists all the way through. And I have these conversations because I always ask them, so what do you think of Jesus? Who do you think he was? And they're in, because they don't have the Western narrative. They're like, yeah, he was a yoga teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you get deep into yoga, you realize that that's way more, it's just full. It's full. It's the essence of it is profound. It's not just movements.
Yeah. Yeah. And what it is we've taken dissected yoga and made it into movements, which has made it harmful because the movement was done with the observation and realization of a reflection. Then the movement was created. That's how yoga worked. And in the origin of yoga, like we had tree pose today, it's like this, but it was actually like this. But the reason why we don't do it today is because when it came over to America and it popularized worldwide through that kind of practice, people couldn't do it. So they just dumbed down the practice. Yeah, yoga is
exactly.
Yeah, it's a very spiritual practice. It's just been dumbed down.
So I've heard people say that the pyramids in Egypt used to have 300-mile strip down the Nile of zoo, and they would study the animals. And that's also why a lot of the yoga poses and postures are all named after animals, because like you said, they were intaking the essences from themselves and from the environment and bringing that into a posture so that you could absorb what wisdom
the
is
energy
there.
of the posture.
Right.
I grew up in Asian restaurants, literally. So my sister married a Chinese guy in the 70s. So, and he owned restaurants. So I literally grew up being taught by the Asian cooks, and they used to do, when the new one would get off the boat, the first thing they go is go get cow schlong and testicles, and they would eat it. And I'm like, for decades, I'm like, how does that make sense? But then what it was is they're absorbing the essence. And if I do a pose of an animal, I'm absorbing the essence that animal uses to adapt to nature.
Yeah, it's literally, it's in the shape, it's in the posture. That's why also sacred geometry, it works differently than the science that we're used to.
Right. Well, the science that we're used to is actually meant to stop the flow of discovery, not to encourage it, because if I'm not going to tell you until I'm sure, because if I tell you and I mess it up, you're going to come down and beat the crap out of me, and all the other peers are going to do it, and they're going to hammer me until I'm embarrassed. And this is why you get guys in science today, they spend their whole life on a theory, then somebody comes along and proves it conclusively not true. And then what do? They're devastated by it. You see it all the time. And they're because they spent their whole life working on something. Somebody says it's not, and they built their identity around that something. You know, my strength in medicine was I didn't have a designation to protect. I didn't have a pick discipline. So I'm doing something, they go, oh, that's like something else. And I'm like, oh, really? That's cool. I'm not like, no, that was designed by this chiropractor or this doctor or this Chinese medicine doctor years ago, and they have 10,000 years of doing this. And I'm like, I wasn't doing that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, let me look into that, because I had nothing to protect. And this is where science has gone wrong, is that we're trying to protect. And when we try to protect, what we resist persists. So when we try to protect, we get resistance.
What I've noticed is the best scientists usually towards the end of their life start realizing that a lot of the stuff that they discovered earlier, decades before, is wrong, and they start talking about it. But they've got such a loyal following that when they die, the following continues on the
cult,
stuff that
cult following. Let's just call it what it is. Cult following. They're a cult. Yeah, like Charles Darwin on his deathbed said, I'm wrong. Louis Pasteur, the inventor of the germ theory, said, I was wrong conclusively. I wasn't even close to right. But here we are today, and we're still going, I'm getting germs from you. It's your germs that are making me sick. But that's not how it works. Terrain theory is that your germs make me more strengthen my access to the environment.
Yeah. Which makes sense. That's why if you grow up on a farm, or if you're exposed to a lot of it, that's why people shouldn't be so afraid if their kids are crawling around on the ground and they're putting stuff in their mouth. Like, the kids are trying to gather the biome of the environment so that it can be strengthened to exist in it.
Kids eat dirt all the time, by the way, naturally. Parents are like, stop eating dirt. And I'm like, go on, let me bring you a fork and a knife. You want some salt and pepper with that dirt?
They put their feet in their mouth.
Yeah.
My dog does the same thing. He puts his mouth in there. He licks everything.
Well, I tell people, if I really want to be healthy, the best way for me to do it is come around and lick all of you.
Right. That's how bacteria works too. They bump into each other and they exchange all of the information that they've ever accumulated in its lifetime. And so it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then they become resistant to many things based on just the sharing of information. Yeah.
So this is what you spend a lot of your time doing, is uncovering these truths. And you have more research. If anybody wants to get research about any of these topics, you just follow Raw. Because you spend a lot of time going and getting the facts and finding it out and pointing to studies and stuff like that. And that's why I love watching your stuff. It's like you're always confirming what I'm doing. I'm like, whoa, that's a good confirmation.
And I have the flexibility too. I'm also not claiming to be a scientist or anything like that. So like you said, we have the flexibility to experiment and just see if things are working. And if people give feedback saying that, like, yes, this worked, then just keep on discovering down that trail.
Yeah. So when does the science of the body become results? And this is the challenge, and I mean, the idea is, and results over time, because we have things that have to work for decades before, like even the genetic theory. And then we said after dozens and dozens of years, oh, it's not the gene. If you have the gene, it doesn't matter. It needs to have an expression. So then it's the epigenetics of that gene. Well, 30 years since we've been studying epigenetics, and it still doesn't explain it. So then it's like, what is it? Well, I know what it is. It's emotional genetics. But I'm open to the fact that I don't know.
Right.
But it's a better explanation than the one that they have today.
Yeah, we all must be okay with everything that we know being completely possibly wrong. That's the versatility, that's our power. And also and I've learned to take in varying perspectives that contradict each other, because if there is, like, let's say there is a God figure, an all-seeing eye, all that is a being or a consciousness that's able to participate in all of the different perspectives, in all of the different dimensions that make up this reality, this universe, and a lot of them are going to contradict each other. So the more perspectives we're able to intake, we don't have to wave the flag of them, but if we're able to intake, like urine therapy, you get that, and then you get different ways to eat. The more perspectives we have, the more godliness we're able to participate in, because we don't have to actually be in that perspective like fully, but being aware of it gives us that dimension of perceiving through different windows.
Man, people are so scared of the word God today too.
I went through being allergic to it as well. I mean, I think that's a phase, and if you're unwilling to even participate in a conversation about Jesus, about God, then you're just blocking off a potential perspective. But you're willing to sit down in front of a TV and watch fiction. We can learn from anything. It doesn't. I feel, in the way that I gather information is, I don't question whether it's true or false, because I know that I can learn from false things in fiction. So why would I care if something that comes to me is true or false? Like, what matters is how I integrate it into my life perspective, not necessarily spending 10 years trying to find out if it's true or not. Like aliens. What if aliens exist? What if they do? Well, what if they do? That leads me down a bunch of different pathways in my mind to reconstruct how I view reality. But what if they don't exist? That also leads me down a bunch of different things that I can integrate. I can gather information from both perspectives.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, you know, biologically, genetically, we're closer related to mushrooms than anything else on the planet, and we know that mushrooms didn't come from this planet. And
Right.
and so and only 10% of our cells are human cells anyways. So by default, we're aliens.
Yeah, we're holobiont. Holobiont means that we're not one cell. We're not one organism. We're a collection of organisms. So the human being is kind of like a culture. It is a culture of organisms that give us the human experience. We need the bacteria in our gut for our emotions, for our cognitive abilities. Without these other entities, we are not the human being that we know ourselves to be. And then you mix in energetic entities into that, and it starts to get really fuzzy and blurry of exactly what is me. And I feel, if I can go into this, I feel that what makes us ourself, that the I, the me, isn't physical at all, right? It doesn't exist in our physical brain. And the way that I prove that to myself is the Mandela effect. We can see little shifts in reality in our recordings. And so through the Mandela effect, we know that there's certain things that have happened in the past of this reality that are different than the past that we were in 30 years ago, like movie lines, you know, Darth Vader
Changing
in this reality.
It's like, yeah, I know those lines. They've changed.
Right. So this reality has a different past than the reality that we were in 30 years ago. And how can that be? Right? How? You have to ask yourself, because how is it that Darth Vader says, "No, I am your father" in this reality, but I am certain, and literally, I did a poll a couple weeks ago about Richard Simmons wearing a headband or not. And I think there's it's like 98% of people remember him with the headband all the time. Like all the time, Richard Simmons used to wear a headband.
I remember that clearly.
And in this reality, if you Google Richard Simmons, he's rarely wearing a headband. There's some pictures of him wearing a headband, but that was his signature. And
It was
so
totally his signature.
so we're in
Yeah.
a different reality where Richard Simmons didn't ever really have the headband as his thing. So
There
Darth
was
Vader.
once a reality where Melinda Gates looked like a woman.
it, I didn't come from that reality.
Yeah.
But so I can make my point. Like if we're I feel that we're traveling through realities, all existing now, as opposed to in one reality traveling through time. So under that construct, if the part of me that I sense as me is within the physical structure, because the physical reality changed, right? So if that is true, then our memories should have changed with it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Very, very noticeable.
I feel like my memories haven't changed, right? My memories can notice the contrast of the realities that I'm coming through. Field of Dreams, it doesn't say if you build it, they will come. It's if you build it, it's a different line now, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest princess of them all? That line doesn't exist in this reality. It's a different line.
Yeah.
Oscar Mayer Wiener, that whole family name has a different name. It's not Meyer, it's Mayer. So Ford, the Ford logo has changed. There's a little freaking curly Q on the F that I always drove Fords. That never existed. It was just a normal F, but now it has like this weird like pigtail on the bottom of the F. So there's all of these changes in reality, but I recognize the changes. So that must mean that if physical reality changes the structure of my brain, every physical part of me also shifted with the reality, that there must be some signal coming into me that's non-physical that makes me me, that uses this body as a vehicle.
I believe that we're in the process of an evolutionary change. I stand, my body stands in testament of that. I have things that nobody can explain medically in my own physical body.
Go on. I'll let you talk. I have something to add to that.
I was just going to say, I have things that have changed in my body that I can't explain medically or scientifically. And that means that somehow, some way we're evolving, and some of us are realizing it faster.
In the book series, that the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Drunvalo Melchizedek explains, he spends a lot of the books talking about the Vitruvian Man and how that was essentially a map and of human evolution. And what I know about you is that your head's getting taller, your body's getting leaner, and if you actually look at, there was a Vitruvian Man 1, there's a Vitruvian Man 2, which is the one that we all know. And then there's a Vitruvian Man 3, which is very rare, but it has different body dimensions.
Yeah.
And he explains how that is correlative with our consciousness, that our consciousness actually shifts with the physical structure of our body and how it's aligned, because it has to do with proportions within the different sections of the body. And you're definitely, you're messing around with that. You're playing with that.
I have, well, wait till I see you on the 21st. I've changed again, like to a point where I look in the mirror sometimes and I go, where did that guy come from? And where did the guy go?
Yeah. I get the same thing. I mean, I'm doing these maneuvers as a priority every single day, and I'm feeling and I'm almost falling in love with myself more than, I feel like when I was younger, I really loved myself, but it was more of like a egoic, like I'm the best that there is standpoint. But now it just feels like the true essence of love, like just like harmony when I look at myself in the mirror in ways that is just different than it used to be. You know what?
We got a lot of people out here listening to this and going to listen to this. I'm sure this one's going to get, it's meeting the intention, raw reality. That's our segment here that we're going to do weekly. It's meeting the intention for sure, but people are going to look at this and they're in a completely different world and they're trying to figure out how to get here. And it starts off with taking care of my body, taking care of my mind, and then waiting for perception changes to happen, and then integrating.
Integration is the key no matter what.
Yeah.
And the perception changes will definitely happen. It's just a part of it. I'm glad that you have the testimonials, you have the stories, you have the people to talk about that in such a profound way. It's not 18 years of meditation before it's happening. It's just it's putting your body in a position and taking a few breaths.
Yeah.
And then you open up your channels.
I never
right?
bought with I never bought off in all the years of meditation. I'm going, you know, I want higher consciousness, but if that's the way I had to do it, I'm going to shoot myself in the head.
Yeah. I go 13 years with nothing but loving thoughts, and then you get to transcend this.
I can't do that. I drive on the freeway. Hey, listen. So I want to ask you, are you willing to, we have a big audience coming on the 21st. I'd like you to do something special for the audience. Are you willing to do something like that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Of course. Yeah. And you guys, if you can get to Joshua Tree or Los Angeles on the 21st, do it. Joshua Tree is such an amazing place. It has a certain feeling. I go there all the time. It's like 2.5 hours outside of Los Angeles. It's kind of where people in LA go to shed the hecticness of the city. So it's sort of a refuge for the Los Angeles people. If you can come out here and experience Garry and the Human Garage team, I'm going to be there.
And yourself.
I'm going to be there as well. I'm sure a lot of amazing people are there as well. If you guys want to get more integrated into this stuff, coming there is going to allow you to meet people that are on the same page, on the same path. And it's not just the leaders that are going to be there. It's just everybody else that's participating. We're all a part of this. And it's going to be amazing if you can get out there.
I'm looking forward to it. So we'll end here today because I already know what my topics are for next week. Awesome. This is a fantastic conversation, Ra. I love getting together and talking with you because I have conversations that just never end. It's fun.
Well, it's reciprocated for me too. Like, you're somebody that I've always looked up to and viewed as like on the cutting edge of things having to do with the body and the human experience, and that's my favorite topic. So I'm honored to be considered a friend by you, and it means a lot. So
thank you so much, my friend.
All right,
we'll see you next week, and then we'll see you in person on the 21st.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay, take care. You guys, what do you think of Raw Reality? Put it in the comments what you guys think. How do you think that went? I mean, this is the stuff I want to talk about. We talk about how to fix my shoulder and my neck and my period pain and my this and my that. And you know, and I love helping people, but this is so you guys, it's Raw of Earth, RA_of_Earth. So go follow him and follow his content. So we're going to be coming to you every weekend with Raw Reality and Raw Reality Wednesdays. And what we're here to do is we're here to take the conversations that we have behind the scenes and then share them with you. Our goal is to bring up your consciousness, help you absorb and look at the world in a different way. Yeah. Put in the comments. Tell Raw how good it was. Yeah, he is a sick dude in a good way, man. You know, it's so funny. It's just that when I was introduced to him, I wasn't yet in that space. I was coming out of this clinical space and I was moving into this consciousness space. And I gotta tell you, his content and his discussions and his willingness to share authentically is what transformed me. It helped me transform as a person, because if somebody else is smart as he was, as studied as he was, as proficient as he was in the world could do it, then I could do it. He gave me so much hope. That was a lot of fun. And you know, our goal is to bring you more of this type of content. I mean, there's only so often. We're taking the how do I fix myself? Like right now, if you have an ache or an ailment or whatever, you can go on our Instagram and we'll give you the our view of how to resolve it, how it works. We'll give it there. And we're moving that over to the website soon. But these are the conversations that are transformative. I mean, you want to fix a prolapsed uterus. Well, we have a video. We have a program. We have supplements. We can tell you what to do. And after a while of watching these things, it'll get really boring. So what we want to do is bring you into the world that we live in. And it was fun because we had Raw out here for a week in June. I think it was June. And with a bunch of other influencers that we have. And what we're doing is we're building the world's biggest network of people who just give a shit, who want to help, who are out there every day doing something. You know, and it's funny because I asked him, you know, like, why do you still work and do all this other stuff? So I can produce more content. So you can go follow him. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel, and while you're at it, subscribe to ours. That's something that we need is more subscription there. We're working on that, or we want. But subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you want to get involved in businesses, he works with Purium supplements, food additives, food replacements. And Purium is a fantastic series of products. You can check it out with him there. But yeah, just go check him out, Raw of Earth, okay? Let's see who's up here today. Calf 427. Yeah, we call it the gas zone, the give a shit zone. Yes. Acronyms, just another TLA. It's a 3-letter acronym, but that could also be a 2-letter acronym, but not to be confused with an FLA, which is a 4-letter acronym and a 5-letter acronym, or an SLA, which is a 6-letter acronym and 7-letter acronym, or a service level agreement if you're in telecom or computer. Just found you today. Thank you. Following Raw. Thanks, Leanna. Leanne. How do you say it? Lean? Lene Leah. Yeah. Subject matter expert show. Go follow him and check out that. Let's do that. I have a feeling here. Getting a surprise guest here, maybe. Unable to join. I tried it. Okay. Outlier bear. Outlier bear. Lower back pain, pelvis abdominal pain, left side headache, it's gallbladder, lower reset, organ reset, and upper reset. Do those together. Hey, this is Outlier Bear. If you guys have questions about how to fix something in your body, simply go to our Instagram, send a message in, DM to us, and we have a tree there you can find out stuff. And if you can't get the information there, we will answer it personally. We'll answer how to help it, no matter what it is. Outlier Bear. Hello, Outlier Bear. It looks like I'm looking at a changing table in a restroom. Is that a baby changing table? Outlier Bear. Outlier Bear. Are you there? Okay, Outlier Bear. Sorry, not your time today. Morpheus. One of my favorite dudes. Katie Vandermeed. Yeah, if you guys just came into this, you got to go watch the replay. You got to go watch. Katie Vandermeed. Katie Vandermeed.
Yep.
She's moving quickly to a safe spot. Are you in a safe spot?
Yes, I was in my office.
Is your safety threatened in any way? Are you okay?
No. Yeah.
Thank you for calling 911. What's your emergency today?
Can you hear me?
It froze up there. Oh, there you go.
Hello?
So Katie, tell everybody where you live and what your... I can hear you. So tell everybody where you live and what your birthday is.
I'm in Florida and September 29th.
There you go. Libra just had your birthday too. You feel better after your birthday, by the way?
Yes, I do. And I've been doing a lot of different things with spiritual and just more awakening things. And I joined Lisa's group, and it was a great call on Monday that we had.
That's awesome. Yeah, for those of you guys who are looking at it, there's an autoimmune and weight loss group. And Lisa's bringing up people and special guests from her journey, which is really important because we want to show the journey. Like the end result of her journey, she did fascial maneuvers and lived this lifestyle and it worked. But we want to show people what that journey looks like.
Mm-hmm. So I got an interesting email this morning inviting me to come to Costa Rica, and I was super excited about it. But then,
I guess, huh?
but the timing is super bad for me, so I'm very torn. I want to come so bad, and one is the cost, and the other is it's right at Thanksgiving, and family's a big thing in my with me, and a lot of my family gets together for that.
Doesn't it? I think we have people going home for Thanksgiving right after that, right?
Yeah, because Thanksgiving is on the 23rd, and it ends on the 24th.
Oh, okay. Thanksgiving is 23rd? I thought Thanksgiving is 25th.
No, I think it's the 23rd this year.
You know, and I apologize for the Americans who run into that. We have, most of our business is worldwide, and Thanksgiving is an American phenomenon. Canadians had their Thanksgiving last weekend.
Right.
See, Canadians want to get ahead of the game. They always do it early.
And my family is Canadian. They're newfies.
Oh, Lord, thunder and Jesus. Eyes abides and builds a boat. Eyes abides and sails her. Eyes abides and catches a fish and brings them home to Lizer.
Yeah.
See, I grew up.
That's where my grandpa.
In the second largest city in Newfoundland.
Ah, which one?
Fort McMurray, Alberta.
Yeah, Salmonier is where my grandmother was from.
We had like 18,000 Newfies in Fort McMurray when I was a kid in the 70s.
But I mean, I want to come. It's been ever since I've found y'all. That's been my goal. Everything I've done has helped me out a lot and opened new doors for me. And last couple of weeks have been an eye-opening, and just I see the change in myself and the way I'm perceiving to other people, and it seems to be rubbing off with other people too.
Yeah. So what does that look like when you say the way you're perceiving it, the way other people are perceiving you?
I just have a much more outlook on life, and I mean, one big thing that I'm doing right now is I'm the dugout mom of my son's baseball team. So I make the boys believe in themselves, or I'm trying to get the boys to believe in themselves, because if you believe in yourself, then things happen. The more negativity you have in your life, I mean, it brings everything down.
Yeah. So how do you do that?
To have a more positive outlook of everything.
So when a child has a conflict with a game, what do you say to them?
I just don't allow them to say the negative things, like I'm going to strike out or I'm just going to get out. I tell them, no, don't say those. We aren't saying those words. You're saying, I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to do this. You have to say it and not just say yes. Or I ask them, I say, are you going to get a hit? And they'll say yes. I said, no. You have to say, I'm going to get a hit. And so I make them do that. And I've seen a huge change just in these 7-year-old little boys.
Right.
So.
Right. How's everything else been going with your transformation? So the people around you are starting to notice. What are they saying?
Mostly just my husband and son, and they're very supportive of it. They try to do some of the maneuvers with me, and just I see their outlook is a little more positive and everything.
Wow. So what you're saying is when mom's more positive, so is the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mothers carry the emotional tone of the family. Mm-hmm. If mothers are happy, there's that joke, that saying, happy wife, happy life. Well, happy mom. And that's really it is. The emotional tone. If you're good, then the family's good. And this is why we tell people all the time, take care of yourself first. Make sure that you get what you need to make your life work, and then everything in your life works.
Right. will y'all be doing more of these retreats? Because
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now,
I mean, listen, yeah, for sure. Yeah. If it's not your time, it's not your time. This is not an all or nothing thing. And through the Lifestyle Artist Program, which if you haven't done it, you should get into it now because you're through the 28-day. Then there's way more opportunities because we have mini ones all the time. The mini ones are like we have a group of like 10 people coming down to Cancun in late October, and and this is where we get to spend more intimate time with people because our like the big ones are where we can affect change. The little ones are where we affect personal change, and
and
our
that's
whole
what I
goal
think
is affect change.
Because like a realization came on the call on Monday with Lisa's with Nima. And said something. I'm one of 3 girls. I'm the last of 3 girls. And he said something about how with trauma, even as with while you're a child, but I've always been told the story that when my dad came into the room and my mom started crying, she says, "Bob, it's another girl."
Oh yeah,
So,
that one. Do you know your chart very well?
yes, I'm a 6-degree Libra sun, and then moon is a 7-degree Taurus, and ascending is Aries.
Aries. What do you know? What degree in Aries, by any chance?
No, I don't have that
Okay,
offhand.
so you're
now.
a Grandmaster Libra. So you're here to bring balance, but the balance comes when you balance you first. And your Aries wants to take leadership and control, and yourself as a person wants to have this balance, and your emotions want to be stuck and hold and don't want to move. So you're like the dilemma that you're in right now about going to Costa Rica is not the first time you've had this dilemma. You have this dilemma quite often in your life.
I do. I'm very indecisive, but can be decisive.
No, you're very decisive. You're indecisive when you let narratives and stories, or when your body's out of line, or when you're in stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always had a bad stomach growing up. The bottom of my esophagus was eroded, and I used to have to take like Nexium and different things. But I try not to take any medicines because I see how they affect me even more. I've had a lot of weird things on my life. Like I got shingles at age 12. I've had them 6 times in my life.
Yeah, that's because of worry. It's because you identify with the origins of worry.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and Libras rule by the lungs, and shingles usually come around the rib cage attached to the lung.
Mine was right at the base of my throat. I have a bunch of little scars where my throat meets my torso.
Yeah, that's still,
and the first
still your.
time I got it
That's
on.
your esophagus, and that's still your lungs. Because this is
Okay.
the lung meridian.
The first time I got it went on 2 sides of my body, and
lung
they
meridian goes
diagnosed
like this. Goes right here.
I can't see you. You're dark today.
So lung meridian goes right across the collarbone, and then down the front of the arm, down the bicep area. So that's lungs. So that's why you're still getting it. You're getting it in your lungs because it's grief that you're processing, and you're processing other people's grief most likely. But you're a Grandmaster Libra.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Libra is.
And that's what I just had I went to a Reiki lady last night, and I hold a lot of people's emotions all the time and everything that I don't realize I do. I take on everyone's emotions.
Well, so this is where it's tied to the situation, the quandary that you're having right now. Mm-hmm. It's about doing things for you first. If you do things for you first, there's no grief in your body. If you do things for other people, then you'll have grief in your body. Where your shingles is coming out is right on your collarbone, esophagus area, which is your lung meridian. It's about grief.
Yeah. What do you suggest? Like, that's what I always come into this, and I've been told this multiple times lately, is that I need to put myself first.
I'm suggesting that it seems paradoxical, but the people that are able to help people the most are the ones who put themselves first. Now, the narcissistic version of that is me. But that's a narcissistic version. It's take care of me so I can take care of more.
Right.
There's everything in life that's good for you has been made into something bad, by the way. Like, take care of yourself first. Oh, you're being a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in other words, it's like we twist terms to put people off guard and so that they can't actualize what they're experiencing.
Right. So should I come to Costa Rica then, or
I'm not even going to begin to answer that for you. It's you have to do, and if I answered it for you, did it, then you're not taking responsibility for the decision you're making, which means that you don't get the win out of it. I'd be taking away anything, and there is no right or wrong. These situations, I said, they come up all the time in your life. They probably come up daily in some way. And they've probably been accelerating over the last 3 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, human beings invariably change.
And I hear you say that a lot. And I just...
Yeah. We are creatures that we're taught to avoid pain, but pain is our greatest motivator.
Right.
Do whatever's right for you, but do whatever's right for you. It may be right for you to be there. It doesn't mean coming to see us is right for you. There'll be other opportunities, but do it with the right consciousness. It's not about the physical action you take. It's about the emotions and the consciousness you put behind that action.
Okay.
You got, by the way, Dr. April here. She's in our program. She's saying, CER April, okay? She's in our program. She's saying, let's connect. I think she's a Libra. She probably has a really good reframe or reflection. And it's good to talk to somebody who has a basic processing like you do, because then you get another way to look at yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I'll connect with her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then maybe we'll see you there. Maybe we won't, but I'm sure we'll see you at some point.
Yeah. I feel that we will and everything. Y'all are amazing of what you're doing to help others and not really asking too much in return.
Yeah, it's like just yeah, you know what?
others.
Yeah, we're only about a year away from making all of our retreats free of charge too. You know, we did it one step at a time. Our 28-day reset, our reset and coaching used to be charged, and then it was free. And then our lifestyle artist program used to be charged, and then it was free. And then now, what in our lifestyle artist program, when people come on our properties, nobody pays anything. That's the whole point. And eventually, the entire program, all of that will be, because what we have is we have people sharing the mission. We have them creating content, telling the story, and when enough people do that, we don't have to spend money and pay people, which is the biggest cost of getting the word out.
Right. Lately, I've had a lot in my throat that I am just not speaking voice, and I'm trying to. I don't want to control people, and sometimes I feel like I'm doing that, telling them you should do this, you should do this, but
it seems weird.
I just need to
prepare yourself. Just do what's right for you in every moment, all day, every day. Eventually, at first, it'll create friction, but eventually, it'll start to create harmony.
What brings me the most joy in life is helping others. I love to help people and everything, and seeing people do better for themselves.
Yeah. Whatever decision you make, it's going to be the right one.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Just know that we're thinking about you, and not everybody got that offer, obviously. So for some reason, because of how you show up, where you show up, we watch all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a good day.
Look who just showed up.
Hey!
Back
We
together.
made it.
Back together again.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a fantastic morning. I haven't slept in 2 days, but it's been fabulous. How is it?
It's been fantastic. Raw and I talked for over an hour.
I did see a little bit of that. He
Yeah.
looks great too.
Yeah, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be there on the 21st. He's bringing hundreds of people with him. So
Perfect. It's gonna be a party.
yeah,
Hey, nice to see everybody.
everybody's
Hi.
like, missed you.
Hi. Oh, I can't wait to give everybody a hugs when we get together. Oh, it's warm here.
Yeah, it's very warm.
Yeah.
We're as soon as we're done with this live, we're going
Wow.
150 yards into the ocean.
I may just go ahead and go. I might sneak down there and dip in.
Lenny Lay. Let's see if I got it right now. Lenny Lay is a new follower. She follows Raw Earth.
Perfect.
Let's see if that works this time.
Hi, everybody. I see all the hellos. Hugs and love back.
Hi, did I get it
Hello?
right? Is it Lenny? Linnea.
Oh, beautiful.
And the last name's Lay?
Yeah.
Oh,
My
where
middle
now,
name is
where are
Lay.
you? Hawaii?
No, so
Oh my
it's
gosh,
actually
really?
a Swedish name.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but I live in the U.S. Right
which
now
part of
I'm in
Oregon? That's where I'm
Oregon.
from. Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, so
I
I'm
know
in Hillsboro,
exactly
outside of
where you are.
Portland.
Yeah. I like.
That's where I'm
I
at.
Oh,
lived in
beautiful.
Portland for
Weather.
a while. Yeah. I went to school there.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Cool. I'm originally from Southern California. And so a lot of my friends are out there, and one of my good friends sent me a video of Raw. So I followed him. I've been following him for a little while. And yeah, I just happened to tune into you guys this morning. So I don't really know exactly who you are and what you do, but you sound so intelligent, and you had a lot of really great health and wellness information, and everything you said was
So
just
when's your
making
birthday?
sense for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, so my birthday is
there you
March
go.
19th.
Pisces. You guys
I'm
are
a
like
Pisces
twisted
on the
sisters.
cusp,
I'm
sort of.
March 4th.
So 19th, that makes you a 3. It makes you a 26 degree or 25 degree Pisces. I think I bet you're. Do you know your degree? Are you 25 degree?
I'm not
If you're
familiar
if you're
with the
25
degrees.
degree, you're
I
a
have my birth
grand
chart.
master Pisces. So that
Oh,
would
wow.
yeah,
Okay, I need to
that
check.
would explain to you very quickly what your life was like if you had this weird kind of heavy start to your life that you had to work through, and probably questioning belief systems all the time and values and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did have that kind of childhood where I felt like I was very conscious at a young age, sort of more conscious than the adults around me. So my whole life has kind of been like learning to love myself and just like believe in myself.
That's the biggest.
And empower
That's the biggest
myself.
journey for Pisces.
That's a big one. What was your day like yesterday?
Really heavy right now because of what's going on, on the world.
Well, that's a
right
that's
now.
a good point. How's that affecting you directly, though?
Yeah. What's it like on inside for you?
I mean, how does the outside events? How does that affect you directly?
Well, I think that I just kind of like before whereas I would kind of like numb it out. Now I'm feeling it, like the pain of what's going on. And so it's just really sad to know what's happening.
Fair statement. But is it your
it's
pain?
just hard,
So
Not
here's my counsel. If it's not your pain and you take it, that's called karma. And you've been doing that for a long time. You're a master level Pisces, whether you're a 25 or 26 degree. You're one of the two. Are you really good at making decisions or not? Okay, so you're probably 25
Probably
degrees.
not.
So if you're a 25-degree Pisces, then you
Very
feel
spiritual.
everything in the world. You feel the entirety, because your third decan means you feel the entirety of the world. If you take that pain, and your journey is to learn to observe it and not take it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
that's
because it's
true.
like, what has directly changed in your world, if since you are a 25-degree, which I think you are, then what you feel
Mm-hmm.
also you radiate. So you can feel desperateness
Yep.
and sadness,
Yep.
or you can feel confidence and joy and harmony. And whatever you feel is radiating out there with all the other Pisces in the world. You guys are like a little network, like a
Yeah.
mycelium network.
That's true.
It's nice
It's very
to meet
nice.
another fellow Pisces.
I'm a
What's yours?
Sagittarius.
What's
I'm
your
a 29
sign?
degree. So that means that
Awesome.
as a 29-degree Sag, the only reason I'm on this earth is to break through something for the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That's, well,
It is.
I
That's a
didn't know
great
it was my
mission.
mission. Now I know it's my mission. I used to just lay in bed and wonder, why can't I be like everybody else? Why can't I just conform?
Yeah,
Well, we
but
need
we
people
need
like
you.
you.
We need
Too.
people like you
Yeah, we need people
for
like you.
sure.
I mean, you carry the emotional tone of the world.
Yeah, so I will say that I tend to bring the light, especially like at work right now. Like I feel like I'm holding the light, and I interact with the public. That's my job, and so yeah, I try not to take on too much like of others' emotions, but I do try to help transmute the energy. Um, and I try to hold space for people because they're going through a lot. Um, but yeah, I am realizing now, um, it's now that I'm choosing to be aware of what's going on, but I
Yeah.
need to take care of myself. Like you said, I did do a breathing mindfulness
So
meditation before bed
try
last night, and that
go to our
really
website,
helped.
try the lower or the upper reset, and then see how you feel. I think that
Okay.
that's why his life is
Okay.
transforming since he's been doing this. Because what it does is it opens up the emotional centers of your body. To tell you the truth, we don't know why. We just know it happens. We can see evidence in the brain that it does it,
Yeah.
but we don't know why. I have a belief, but I think you'll find as a Pisces that'll give you the ability to step outside yourself.
Okay. All right. I will check it out. I fully, wholeheartedly believe in meditation, and that has, kind of probably saved my life when
But
I
the reason
found out
we
about it for the
meditate
first
is
time.
to
So
calm
yeah,
our
I will
brains. But the
check that
reason our
out.
brains are active is because our body's malfunctioning. So try the
Yeah.
lower reset or the upper reset, either one of those, and then see how drop into a meditation and see what changes. I promise you, your life will change. You're a Pisces. Your life will change.
Okay. Thank you. I will check you out, and I followed you here, and I'll check out the website, and I'm interested in what you guys are doing. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you
I
for that
appreciate the
follow.
Wonderful
connecting
to
today too.
connect with you. Yeah. Have a great day.
It was great, you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, Linnea.
What do you guys think, man? Virgo, extreme taskmaster. Conformity isn't specific to Virgos. Yeah, well, I'm a 29-degree Sag. That makes me a Virgo by trade. Yeah, because 29 is 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 is Grandmaster Virgo.
Well, that's really fun.
Augustus.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Mornings here in Alaska, 34 degrees today. It doesn't
Oh,
feel.
34 in Alaska?
Hey, Augustus.
Hello.
Hello.
Need to stop for a second. 1 second. We'll park and we can talk then.
Where are you calling from, Augustus?
From Chicago. Now in Jolie.
Chicago.
Yes. Yep.
And when's your birthday?
May 26, 93.
Okay, so you're a brainiac.
I was not, but I'm becoming one because of you.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
what you're
No,
doing.
no. You have the ability. You probably have one career and then built your way up and then said, "Screw it, I'm gonna go do this other one over here."
Exactly. I was a trainer in my country, Lithuania, and then I saw it's bullshit. Then I saw the medical shit is also bullshit, and you know.
You say
That's why I'm here.
Lithuania?
Huh?
You say
Yes, Lithuania.
Yeah. We actually have a big following over there now.
I bet you got everywhere because it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. So what are you doing in Chicago now? By the way, there's a guy in Chicago. He has a gym. It's called Underground Fitness, and it's Danny Cola Fitness. He's one of our partners. And he's in Chicago. It's a super cool guy. I don't know exactly where it is, but you should check it out. I think you'd like him.
Can you spell his name again? I will write it down.
Danny Cola. So like Danny Cola, like Coca-Cola, Cola. Danny Cola Fitness.
Okay, I will find him. Thank you.
Yeah, super cool guy.
Just like you, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. Thank you for all you're doing. I'm in a lifestyle artist.
Oh, are you? You're
began.
in the lifestyle artist program?
Hey.
Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we knew everybody today, but we don't. But I'm looking forward to level 2 will know you right away.
Awesome. Can't wait to meet you. I already met oh man, I forgot his name. Jason?
Yeah, Jason.
No, not Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome too.
Yeah, Jason is Jason and
Very awesome.
Jason, Cynthia and I were the ones who at first, right from day one, we're the ones who just decided to go on this crazy mission.
I would go with you if I would not be like, I have to take care of my mom, of my wife. They went through the pharma and stuff, and they messed up very bad now. So that's
You know what?
I'm
I believe that no matter how bad someone's messed up, changing the habits and the behaviors over not even a long time, 6 months to 9 months, it completely transforms their life. It doesn't matter how bad they got messed up.
Yeah, but it's hard to show them because all their life she's nursing, studying nursing, and she's taught very different way. And everything I say to her is like, no, show me the proof. But what proof you need if I feel amazing doing fascial maneuvers, diet is good too, and she's like sick all the time.
It's my experience is that especially when it comes to family, like I was in technology and data. I had multiple businesses. I was known for doing business and technology. Then I became a clinical practitioner. Nobody believed me. Like none of my family, nobody wanted to. And what I found was that I just stayed focused on taking care of myself. And eventually at some point, they asked the question, hey, what about that thing? How does that work? And when they ask the question, they're still not ready to hear. So that's not the time to go tell them everything. You just give them a one-line answer. Well, it works when you work it. And you go and you do some more. And then eventually they come one by one because our families didn't come at first.
That's true.
Yeah, and they all are now. But
it took time. Yeah,
it took sometimes years. And even then, our families agree and accept what we're doing, but they still don't always apply it to themselves.
Yeah, it's hard. I need patience, which I struggle with.
Be patient. They're watching you.
I hope so.
So what is your journey like going into the Lifestyle Artist Program? What's changing from the 28-day reset?
Well, the most biggest stuff I like body, organs, and emotions, because my emotions was all over. I was very angry because of what life brought me, situations. So organ reset is very helpful. I do that almost every day.
You know, the organ reset is the single biggest impact on my personal, mental, and emotional health. I would do it sometimes 5, 6 times a day because I was like a yo-yo all over the place, and it only takes 7 to 10 minutes, and I could calm myself down and then come back to the situation because I was getting
Yeah,
anxious or frustrated and blowing up my life around me.
yeah. Now I can feel in the morning like, oh, my spleen is there. I need to do it. Oh, my liver. I was meditating, but it's way different. This is much different. Way better, like upscale.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to the girl before you. Meditation is to calm the mind, but the reason why the mind is busy is because the body's malfunctioning. So
Yeah.
I can meditate all day long, but if I keep meditating without fixing the body, I have more and more to overcome over time because the body keeps getting worse and worse because the loop between the mind and the body gets broken, and I force to not pay attention to my body when I meditate too much. And don't get me wrong, meditation is super important, but it's the reason why we are having to meditate so much today to be okay is because our bodies are not functioning.
Yep. Yep. My was not functioning at all because my mom got cancer, so a lot of stress, bloating, and stuff like that. I bet you went through all of this.
Well, you're doing the right thing. I mean, you take care of yourself, you keep your emotions in check, you vibrate at a different frequency, and it forces the people around you to change the way that they vibrate.
Yeah,
Cancer,
my mom changed a lot.
Cancer, like everything else, is a frequency.
Yeah.
They change the frequency enough, it can't exist.
Well, I don't know how true is that, but I read that she got cancer, lung cancer, and she lost her first child. So grief is lung cancer.
Yeah, you know, it's like there's truth to everything. The body doesn't lie, and one of the things you can look at is the book called The Metaphysical Anatomy. And Metaphysical Anatomy, yeah, okay, it's really, really good because it helps you understand it in a different way. I've found from fixing human bodies at the best in the world, we had 52 of the best practitioners, and we would fix bodies that no one else could fix. But there always came a point of reckoning when we would fix somebody, but we wouldn't deal with the reason why, the emotions behind it. We keep fixing them and fixing them and fixing them, but eventually it crashes.
Yeah, she's still too much caring. Like, oh, why you didn't call me this time? Oh, where's your brother? And I said, Mom, you need to let go of this. It's too much for your body.
And also, you process a lot of stuff in your head. For you, it's to stay connected to your body.
For me or her?
Well, you.
Oh yeah, everything is in my head because I feel like I feel alone because nobody's learning this. Nobody gives a
Yeah, you're a Gemini who's meant to be a transformative healer, a doctor, but a transformative healer. That's your astrology. And so you're having all these issues around you so that you can learn the truth about it. And the real truth is your emotions at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. From my childhood, everybody was sick, and I was trying to figure out why is that going on? Why for him, not for her? And just figuring it
You got
out.
another
and
lifestyle artist. You got another lifestyle artist here in the comments, Jude Bogo, B-O-G-O. She's a master level Gemini as well, and she's in the lifestyle artist program. You guys would have good conversations. She also comes from Eastern European.
Oh, need to find her. Can't you find me?
Yeah, I'm sure she can. Yeah, Jude, you wanna reach out and hit him? It's Augustus SOG. That's AUGUSTASOG. AUGUSTASOG.
Yeah.
So she's also in the program, and you'll find that you'll have people in the program that are just like you, people who are polar opposites. Like I'm a polar opposite to you, so I give you a completely different reflection. But Jude is just like you in a lot of different ways, and also has the cultural tendencies that you have. So because there's a difference between how Canadians and Americans and Europeans process stuff.
True.
Well, listen, I look forward to getting to know you better.
Me too.
And lifestyle
Yes.
artist too.
Yes.
We'll spend more time with you.
We'll talk.
Yeah, I need more like lifestyle artist program 3 and 4. I want to be like you. I want
It'll
to know
be
everything
after
you know.
that. It'll be coach and practitioner for you, I'm sure.
I'll do that.
Okay, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, we're going to wrap it up there. We're only a few minutes to the hour. I just want to remind you guys all, if you haven't done it yet, go to our YouTube page, please. Please go there now and subscribe. We weren't pushing it, but now we are because we're moving our content into a channel-based content. You're going to see our YouTube start to change and grow as we put 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20-minute videos, little documentaries and stuff like that. We've been saving them. We've got thousands of hours of stories of people and transformations that we're now starting to edit to get up there. Also, if you haven't done it yet, get your tickets for October 21st, Joshua Tree. And if you are in the LA area or you're not in the LA area, it's the biggest in-person healing event that we're going to be doing. We did one similar to it in Canada. You can see remnants of it in our story and on our wall right now today. You'll see a video that says Joshua Tree, and there's a video in there to give you an idea of what you're looking for. We're going to have people like Raw of Earth there. So it's going to be an unbelievable event, transformative in every way, shape, or form. Also, too, if you are in the Lifestyle Artist Program and you wanted to go to the November 17th retreat in Costa Rica, got to talk to us right away. As you can hear earlier, we just opened this up, the 28-day reset. First come, first serve at this point. We can't hold it any longer. If you tell us your intention, like if you're just saving money for it, just let us know. We'll work it in, okay? And also coming up here this weekend and next week, we now have classes. If you can go and you look at our events section, you have Coach Ikwe and Coach Denise teaching on TikTok now. So, sorry, on Instagram on our channel. So you guys are going to see that there. And I think that's about it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, and after Reality Wednesday today, Raw Reality. We're going to be doing that every week. So make sure you tune in next week, same time. If you haven't watched it, if you didn't see me talk to Raw, go back, watch the replay. You guys watch it. It's going to be a powerful one. Take care, everybody.
Appreciate all of you. Have a fabulous day. Mwah.